to 107. This game started off pretty rough for the Wizards. I'm assuming that's how every game is going to be from our team this year. What up, people? We're back with another NBA video, man. We had a bunch of games last night, man. I was not able to catch all the games, but it looks like it was a very fun night in the NBA. And the number one game that I did catch last night was the Mavericks versus the Wizards. If you've been following this channel, if you've been watching any of my videos, you have discovered that I am a Washington Wizards fan. And being a Washington Wizards fan has been one of the most difficult and brutal things, next to being an Auburn fan at that, because I'm originally from Alabama. Watching Alabama kick our ass for quite some time. But yeah, I am a huge Washington Wizards fan. I've been a fan since Gilbert Arenas days, back when he was hitting those no-look buzzer beaters on the Jazz. And, you know, without that injury, Gilbert probably would have extended his career in Washington. Hey, buddy. But, you know, after Gilbert ended up leaving, we did get the number one pick in John Wall. Then we had that Bradley Beal run with Otto Porter all the way up until 2017 before things kind of went downhill from there. Then we had a stint with Russell Westbrook, which was kind of awkward considering we traded John Wall for Russell Westbrook. Cairo, no sir. It was kind of awkward considering we traded John Wall for Russell Westbrook. Hey Cairo, you got to sit, buddy. You got to sit. Good boy, we're not playing right now. He always wants to play when I'm trying to do a video. He just can't stand not having any attention. No, you were just fine until I started recording. No, sir, you were just fine. Literally, he didn't start doing this until I started recording. No, sir. No, get out. Now you got to get out. Get out. Come on. You do this every time, sir. But yeah, pretty much it was a very interesting game last night. I'm about to share my screen and we're going to dissect that game first. And then we'll just take a look at some of the other NBA games that happened last night as well. Wizards beat the Mavs 117. And obviously, as a fan, I want to see us be as good as we can be. But at the same time, we're not necessarily concerned about actually winning games, because we prefer to have a top 3 pick. And if we don't get a top 8 pick in the lottery this year, then we just lose our pick altogether to the Phoenix Suns, I believe, or to the Knicks. It's something going on with the Wizards, the Knicks, and the Phoenix Suns. And I think if the Phoenix Suns get a higher pick than us, then we get our pick. But needless to say, we're not necessarily tanking. We're not trying to be tank commanders, but the roster is constructed to be pretty bad, especially on the defensive and rebounding, especially on the defensive rebounding end and the offensive rebounding end, just rebounding in general. But yeah, let's take a look at this box score, man. Let's see what's going on here. And if anybody hasn't heard about this game already, the two big things about this game is our guy Kyshawn George dropping a career high 34 points, and the Mavs continuing this experiment with Cooper Flag at point guard. And as soon as I'm done talking about the Wizards, I will address that Cooper Flag situation and my opinion on that. And then I also see that Gil's Arena has already talked about it 20 hours ago, so it looks like they talked about it before this game. And I'm probably going to watch that video after this. So this is strictly going to be my opinion on the Cooper Flag situation based off of what I know, my basketball knowledge, me watching this game and the previous game with the Spurs and the Mavs organization and all together. So as you can see from here, a lot of negative plus and minus from key players, Klay Thompson, Anthony Davis. He ended up pretty much having 27 points and 13 rebounds, but it was an ugly 27 points and an ugly 13 rebounds. I really can't explain that, you know, without showing footage, but that's just what I saw. Honestly, we started off in the first quarter pretty much down 3-15. It was either 5-13 or 3-15. Then the lead got up. It stayed that way up until the second quarter. And that's when we kind of went on a huge run. Let's see if I can find that, if it does it by quarter. Yep, here we go, right here. So the first quarter, we ended up kind of we ended up crawling our way back at the end of the first quarter, and we were down by 7. But then in the second quarter, we went on a 30-17 run. So we kind of closed the gap there. And then we continued that run in the third quarter as well by going on 33-26 run. And we just kind of held our own. We were almost letting them come back, which was expected from the team that we have, but we ended up closing it out. Unfortunately, our veterans didn't really help close the game out like we were expecting. I think Middleton hit a couple of clutch shots to close the game out. But the star of the show is this guy, Kyshawn George, man. Now, he was a first-round pick last year. He was the 24th pick in the draft. We drafted Alex Sarr, number 2. We traded Denny Avia to draft Bub Carrington at 14, and then we drafted Kyshawn George at 24. Alex Sarr and Bub Carrington made the all-rookie team last year, but Kyshawn didn't, and I think they lit a fire under his ass. And so far, since Summer League and these current 2 games in preseason, Kyshawn is the better pick so far out of these 3, and he has absolutely the highest ceiling right now. But I do love that Alex Sarr is toughening up, trying to play like a traditional big man, and just letting the jump shots and the 3-ball come to him instead of him just solely relying on being a jump shooter. And maybe one day, next year, possibly, if we get Cam Boozer, you can play the little 4 or the 5, and you and Cam Boozer can kind of switch it up, because he's kind of a bruiser with a jumper too. So I'm banking on us getting Cam Boozer. Everybody wants AJ or Darren Peterson. I'm fine with those picks as well, especially Darren Peterson, because Bub Carrington is not really looking like future. It's just not it, man. And this is your second year, and I know you didn't really play point guard last year full time, but you got to be doing better, man. And it looks like your basketball IQ is where you're lacking at. And then Trey Johnson, we drafted him this year, number 6 overall. We were this close to getting Ace Bailey before the Jazz stole him right under our hands, right from under our nose. And he actually wanted to come to the Wizards. But I think a lot of people be wanting to come to the Wizards because they feel like they can just become a star, or they can just do whatever they want. Trey Johnson is not that type of guy. He is just a pure scorer, pure shooter. I'm a little worried about his playmaking, but right now he's coming off the bench, and that's just what you need off your bench players. And hopefully he's not like a permanent future bench star player. Hopefully he actually rounds out his entire game and becomes a more versatile scorer type player, so that we can build our future around him. And then we have Cam Whitmore. I'm really not liking this fit. He has all the potential in the world, but you can just tell from his body language, from the way he plays, that he's not necessarily about team ball, or he's not necessarily about doing those little things that help the flow of the game. And I've noticed in the past 2 games that he just takes the wrong shots at the wrong time. And I'm not saying he's the only one that does it, but it's like when he does it, it looks more absurd. It looks out of sync compared to when someone else takes a crazy shot. And most of the time when someone else takes a crazy shot, it's coming from a pass, or there's some type of flow within the offense, and he's just kind of forcing it. And I get it, man. You think you're better than everybody else. You're more athletic. You have a name. Your name is more noteworthy than everybody else on this team outside of the veterans. But it's just not really looking good. So let's go back down here to this Cooper Flag situation, man. They are playing this guy at point guard. So first things first, let's talk about why they're playing Cooper Flag at point guard in the first place. First thing that comes to my mind is they don't have Kyrie Irving. Okay, cool. Kyrie Irving tore his ACL. Some people are expecting Kyrie Irving to come back towards the end of the season. I think that's kind of crazy. It's possible, but I'm not banking on it. And there's other reasons, fantasy related, why I'm not banking on it either. I hope he doesn't come back, D, right? I hope Kyrie doesn't come back if you watch this, D, right? But they don't have Kyrie Irving. So, okay, who do they have? They got D'Angelo Russell. Okay, to me, that's the perfect person to replace Kyrie Irving until he returns without necessarily affecting the play style of your team. He's a lower standard version of Kyrie Irving. He may not be as efficient as Kyrie Irving, but the way that he plays and the flow that he plays within is very similar to Kyrie Irving. It's just not flashy. He's still a capable point guard in the NBA. And then they have Ryan Nembhard, who for some reason got 1 minute and 15 seconds more playing time than D'Angelo Russell. I just don't get it, man. Get it at all when you got these guys right here. And you got PJ Washington playing the 3. It's not making too much sense to me, man. So that's where we're going to start with that. So that's the first thing. Kyrie Irving's out. You got D'Angelo Russell, but for some reason Jason Kidd doesn't trust D'Angelo Russell. And then the second thing is you have a franchise that traded away Luka Doncic. And we all know Luka Doncic is about to have a monster year. He's been having a monster year so far. We all know this. Everyone can feel it just from looking at his summer workouts, seeing the transformation in his body, knowing how much it probably hurt to hear what was said about him and why he was traded from a franchise that he probably felt like he was going to spend his entire career with. So whether the draft is rigged or not, they ended up with Cooper Flagg. And I think this organization is trying to not necessarily get Cooper Flagg to emulate Luka Doncic, but they're trying to present Cooper Flagg in a way of, hey, we don't have Luka, but we have this versatile guy who we're pretty much hanging all of our hopes on, and we want to showcase him, and we want to show you guys that he can do it all. We may not have Luka, but this guy can be somebody. And it doesn't matter where we put him, he can do it all. They're trying to showcase this to the fan base, and they're also being a little experimental because, like I said in previous videos, the point guard in the NBA is being phased out. The traditional point guard, the traditional 6'2", Rajon Rondo type point guard, or even the Russell Westbrook type point guard, they're low-key getting phased out, man. And I thought it was going to be shooting guards, but it is point guards. And you're going to see throughout the season, there's multiple teams experimenting with the point guard position as if there's just not point guards out there. But maybe there's a skill gap going on with point guards now where teams are just finding it more efficient to have a tall guy that can handle the ball, play point. And the days of people averaging 10 to 15 assists, 8+ assists as a point guard are getting slim. They're getting slim. But yeah, I think they're just trying to showcase Cooper Flagg. I think Jason Kidd is leading that charge, and he's trying to look like a genius. He's trying to look like a genius and look innovative and look like, oh, he's thinking about the future. But it just seems awkward, not only for the team, for the offense, for the flow, but it just seems awkward for Cooper himself. And I'm not saying he's not capable. He is capable, but that's just not where his strength is. That's not the best fit for him to be at right now. Let him learn the game first. And maybe that is the point. Maybe they're trying to put him at point guard so he can learn the game from a different perspective and then later on move to a wing position. But I feel like you should do it the other way around. Let him learn the other spots, the other positions. That way, when he does play point guard, he has a better idea of how to put everybody else in position while he's playing the point guard position. But he did end up with 6 assists. That is very impressive. But here we go. 5 turnovers. What more can I say? And even more proof in the pudding that this experiment is a little wonky. And I love my team. They lost to the Washington Wizards. Only players that really showed up. CJ McCollum only had 6 points. He was 2 for 8. Chris Middleton, he was 4 for 13. Only had 9 points. He hit a couple of clutch shots in the fourth quarter. That was about it. Alex Sarr had a good game. They played defense. He played defense pretty well. The whole team played defense pretty well. But outside of Trey Johnson and Kyshawn George, nobody on my team went off, really, outside of those two. And honestly, looking at this Mavs roster, you have no business losing to my team. But when you watch the game, you realize that the Mavs have terrible floor spacing. Nobody on this starting lineup is a shooter except Klay Thompson. And we all know Klay Thompson is not the shooter that he used to be. And for some reason, he always starts the season off slow. He's been starting the season off slow for the past 3 to 4 years. He'll pick up eventually. But that's the very first thing I noticed when we started to make our comeback in this game is that the Mavs have terrible floor spacing. They don't have any shooters. And you got Cooper Flag at point guard mucking up the offense, and you guys are trying to almost force feed Anthony Davis more than you should have, more than the Lakers did. And I feel like the Wizards saw what the Spurs did to the Mavs, and they watched that film and they game planned. And our identity is all about defensive tenacity this year and building that culture going forward for the franchise. We just smothered them. We were pests. I'm talking about nagging pests, especially Kyshawn George. As great as he did on offense, he was even better on defense, which is crazy to even think about. He was guarding AD. He was guarding Cooper. He was guarding PJ. He was guarding Derek Lively. He was just disruptive. Up Carrington wasn't great on offense, and he's a terrible point guard in my opinion. Not our point guard of the future. He could possibly be that lead guard coming off the bench, but they all played great defense, and it was team ball. But it's easy to play team ball and smother a team when they don't have any outside shooting. And if you watch our Bucks, our matchup against the Bucks, what really killed us was they have some shooters. We were sucking at closing out on shooters. Now, did we do a good job of closing out on shooters this game? Yes, but it helps when your team doesn't really have shooters to begin with. But I feel like the Cooper Flag situation is it's going to get better because he is a rookie. He's only played 2 games. He's going to get better at that position. I just feel like the Mavs are doing a disservice to Cooper Flag. They're doing a disservice to this organization, and they're building up this false hope that I don't even want to say false hope. They're building up a false expectation of what Cooper Flag could be. No, man, just let him be who he's meant to be. A dominant forward, Franz Wagner, Nowinski, versatile Kevin Garnett at forward. Let him play to his strengths. And then if you want to experiment, put him at point later in the season or next year or whenever else outside of the beginning of the season. And you see the Rockets doing it with Amen Thompson, but at least Amen Thompson is able to break down the defense a little bit better than Cooper Flag with his athleticism. Amen Thompson's problem is when he gets pressured, all he knows how to do is just drive to the hole and score, which is great in certain scenarios. But sometimes you just want everything clicking so you can make the defense work, so you don't become just too predictable, because eventually they just know what you're going to do. And it doesn't matter how good you are. When the whole team knows what you're about to do, somebody's going to stop you. The likelihood of them stopping you is going to get it's going to increase. But yeah, man, the Mavs had no business losing to the Wizards. But I am proud of my team for fighting, for being dogs on defense, and I'm proud of Kyshawn for turning it up a notch. I mean, that's more than a notch. But I also think that the Mavs threw this game away. And most of it has to do with this rotation that they're playing and not having shooters. But proud of my team. I just had to make a quick video about this situation, and we'll stay tuned and monitor the Cooper Flag. And we'll stay tuned and monitor Cooper Flag's progress if he's going to continue playing this point guard position. Because right now the internet is a consensus on the internet that this is not it, man. Y'all are doing this man a disservice. Y'all are setting him up for failure, man. He did not look good last night. Yeah, his stats look good, but he did not look good playing the point guard position, man. He needs a point guard to maximize his abilities. And they need to run, and they need to stop playing this slow-paced basketball. Because guess what my team did? Crazy. But yeah, man, y'all stay tuned for more content. It's basketball season, so I'm going to be doing a lot of basketball videos as well. But here and there, I might jump on some other topics that may be correlated with basketball or have something to do with just the culture itself. And in my opinion, basketball is black culture. This is a black culture pod, but basketball is the epitome of black culture, in my opinion. So yeah, stay tuned for more content, and thanks for watching.